Hello and welcome back to Read Becca. You are here for yet another Booktube Prize book review, and today that is going to be How to Order the Universe by Maria Jose Ferrada and translated by Elizabeth Breyer. Yes, Elizabeth Breyer. This is a cute, tiny book. You can see this is an adorable little cloth-bound naked hardback, and the, form factor of this one is interesting because it's hardly any text per page and the chapters are very short. So the simplicity and minimalism is definitely a selling point for this one. It knows what it is and it doesn't try to do more. And so I think that's very effective. It's not padded out or expanded to be some complex work. So I don't have a ton to say about this one as a result of this. This is a simple story of a young girl. She's 7 years old, so we are very much kind of in her perspective, seeing what her life is as she and her father start going out on the road together. She is skipping school to go help him with sales, basically going to these stores with his suitcase of stuff, and he's selling to hardware stores. So not anything she's terribly interested in, but she familiarizes herself with the whole catalog, and it just shows her really get invested in helping out her dad. And we see them build this unique relationship as she's going through this. Now, kind of the big impetus for this is that her mom is not really present in her life. Her mom has gone through something kind of emotional, and we don't really find out what that is until toward the end. And as a result, both her and her dad are feeling this lack in their life. And so because the mother is not there, they just sort of have this bonding experience. And this goes on for quite a long time. And so we just see day-to-day life of her becoming ingrained in this life of sales and how she gets away with getting out of school, the excuses that they make. Her kind of joining the salesman club of all these guys who come together to coffee shops and commiserate about their sales experiences. Smoking even, like she is treated as one of the guys at a lot of points. And her voice is just so distinct. So I think if you don't like child narrators, that may be a problem for you. If you are bothered by child narrators that don't really sound childlike, this one may not work for you. However, I would say I was listening to some Hannah Gadsby, who is a Tasmanian comedian and is also non-neurotypical. And as I was reading this, I could hear a child Hannah Gadsby doing a lot of this sort of delivery. And so this may be coded as non-neurotypical. If not, she is a child character who just doesn't fit in a lot with other kids. And that's in the background very much. It's subtext. It's not explored at all. I don't think she really interacts with kids almost at all. I think one scene in the whole book is her interacting with another kid. So we don't see that part of her life. It's very absent from her life as well. So in terms of the voice, I'm going to read you a very short chapter. It's about a page and a half. So you can get a sense of the tone. Everything that happened next was only possible because my mother was absent. It wasn't that she left the house much, it was that a part of her had abandoned her body and now resisted coming back. Maybe that fragment of my mother was an astronaut, and on one of her journeys through outer space she had come across D, who is her father, who since the moon landing had developed the habit of peering at the sky every so often, and had decided that the part of her that did come back would stay with him, or rather, with us. But touchdowns are never easy, and during hers, my mother lost half the vision in her left eye. In that blind spot, what I referred to as my double life started to take place. A mother who was whole would have noticed. Did that make my mother irresponsible? I don't think so. I think that instead, life had been irresponsible with her. So clearly doesn't sound like a typical child, but I just like that so much, that tone of her being very analytical and reflective about what's happening. And she doesn't reflect in a deep way. It's an observational way. And almost all of this is told in a way that is statements about what's happening rather than deep thought. So I think this was one of the more deep thought elements. A lot of it is just her having a good time with her dad. he makes a lot of dad jokes, in fact, and it's really hilarious to see the two of them playing off of each other that way, and the ways that they use their relationship to manipulate customers. So this is a quirky, fun book. I think this has a great sense of place in that it's very mundane and suburban, and that's exactly what you expect from this. There's not anything grand to it. I think all the characters, even though they are named throughout this with a single letter, we get a good sense of who they are. Even the side characters, these other salesmen, we know exactly their kind of irregularities. So I think this was a fun, entertaining read with a lot of heart to it. And I think had this been a novel length, it probably would have been padded too much. But as a novella, this is only 170 pages, there isn't enough meat to it to really hold this up against some of the other novel-length works in Booktube Prize that I've been judging against. So this is a hard one to rank, because if it had been up against other novellas, I think this would be in significant contention, but it just needs a little bit more in order to hold up against these other novels. So yeah, I think the brevity of this, the minimalism of this, and the simplicity of this are real strengths, but it needs a little bit more for me. I overall did really enjoy it and heartily recommend this for people who are looking to read some women in translation. So that's it for me today on How to Order the Universe. Thanks so much for watching.